Data mines. Many data mines are appearing, made by Zabi, and I wanted to talk about the most important ones, especially for aircraft that I found. There are many ones, like little changes to gears of tanks, small little armor changes, about 1 millimeter here, 1 millimeter there. There are many flight model changes that change slightly X or Y, but I'm not gonna cover every single thing. I really try to find, for now, the most interesting thing that he released yesterday and today, and I wanted to show to you guys. It's not a lot, but it is pretty interesting. And let's start with a bang. AOA Vapor code is added to the game. So, if you don't know, depending on the aircraft, depending on humidity of the air, and many instances, if you pull a lot of or instances like many little things, variables, right, that here and there would change to actually exist or not. But if it is in the right direction, in the right course of, variables and stuff, a vapor cloud can appear not only when you are passing in higher speeds close to Mach 1, but also when you pull very high AOAs. And this is a long awaited thing that apparently Gaijin is messing with. We don't know if it's going to be added this patch or not, but especially for the F-16s, the code is there for that to come. So very cool, right? Second thing, depth charge salvo code was added. So if you're a fan of ships, that's pretty interesting. You don't need to spam depth charges maybe. So they might add a new button for you to actually just click and deploy many depth charges at once, that would be cool. The A10 fly model, especially in the A, got a slightly more, it's complicated, but basically this is the idea. It has more lift slightly after stalling, more available AOA, so we can pull a little bit more angle of attack, and it stalls later together with more lift at higher angles of attack, more lift at lower angles of attack as well. So overall, the aircraft can pull a little bit more and maintain a little bit more lift throughout higher angles of attacks and stall later, meaning that the aircraft can sustain better turns. Okay, the A10C is also having the same flight model. The only difference between the A and the C right now in the game is that the C has an extra weight of 60 kilograms in the empty weight, okay? But pretty much everything else is the same in the terms of flight model between the original A10A and A10C coming into the game, okay? For the F1 and T2, there were so many changes to the flight model. I'm gonna mention some of them. It doesn't have comet flaps apparently anymore, which is funny. But yeah, other flight module changes like more available AOA until stalling in either a positive or a negative angle, an increased available yawing range, slightly increased rudder effectiveness, and a gear destruction speed decreased from 577 kilometers per hour to 485 kilometers per hour. So if you like to actually land these aircrafts pretty fast, the F1, the T2 and stuff, you gotta be careful with that, okay? I mean, who lands at 600 kilometers per hour? But, I mean, I know there are people out there that do that. The F-16C Block 50 got a 81 kilogram heavier weight in the dev server. The F-16C Block 40 Barak 2 flight model in performance-wise is essentially identical to the F-16D. I think this is only taking into account aerodynamics, but still, it's weird. I'm pretty sure they both need to have different flight models, so we will need to wait and see. The F-104 flight models, it's pretty interesting because in the actual changelog, they say how they... I think it may be a typo, I don't know. It's just weird that they say it's kind of a buff, but it feels like a nerf when you look at into the files made by our data mines, right? So induced drag will begin decreasing more sharply after Mach 1.02, which is pretty cool. An overall massive induced drag increase, turn rate and turning ability in general massively decreased. Slightly less yawing force as well, and some other minor changes as well. But in general, the F-104 should be able to turn a lot less than it used to do, having a lot more drag apparently. especially in a turn. So it's kind of weird, but I don't know. Let's wait and see, right? Added a new F111C and F111F fly models, being that the F111C apparently has a better turning performance and the F has a better overall engine performance. It's fast, man. It can go Mach 1.5 very, very close to the ground. Tornado performance, all the tornadoes had an increase in the induced drag. Very slightly increases in total lift up to the critical AOA, which is basically where you stall, right? So it has a little bit more drag, but it can pull a little bit more with a little bit more lift. More available AOA before stall, so you can pull a little bit more AOA as well. And slightly more lift at critical angles as well. So it's, and less lift at the critical angle itself. So it means that it depends on the part of the vehicle, but in a general sense it means that it can pull a little bit more, but after the stall is done, you probably will fly a little bit worse. The F-16, as I said, had the vapor counts added to it in higher AOAs, but it's not activated yet. And last but not least, there were some changes to radars and stuff. The main one, I think, is the N001 radar complex. That is the Su-27's one. The IRST of that system basically got a pretty significant buff in the terms of quote-unquote gimbal limits on looking to the sides, upwards and downwards and stuff, and some sensitivity changes to many IRSTs as well. So yeah, overall these are the main ones that I wanted to talk about. Anything else that is not here either is not released yet, and we will wait for that and release a proper video on that if needed, or I already talked about in kind of an extras video that I did talking about this stuff that you might have missed in the patch. So check that out. And yeah guys, this is it. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe, and bye guys. See ya.